Don't get me wrong. I believe in community. I believe in teamwork to an extent. At the end of the day, you'll be the one left alone, forced to handle whatever problem is in front of you. People will abandon you, especially when they realize they can't get what they want from you. This might sound jaded, but in my entire life, all I've ever seen is the absolute worst in people. If you don't keep an eye on them, they will hurt you. It's best to give them what they want and remove any of the troublemakers from your company as quickly as possible. Of course, you don't tell this to a large room full of eager, wide-eyed people looking to you for some kind of wise advice about life. You tell them what they want to hear. You give an uplifting story, tell a few maxims and a few quotes from people who inspired you. I've sat through enough PR prep meetings to know what not to say. I'd call it lying, but truthfully, no one wants real honesty. If they did, they'd know that there's nothing some rich guy could tell them that would turn their lives around. I finished my speech and wowed them all by presenting the largest donation the foundation had ever received. You see, I prefer to express my feelings through actions, not words. Actions don't lie. It's easy to say that you want cancer cured and that we have to rally up as a community to stop it. It's much harder to write a check for half of your net worth and see that it actually happens. The value of $1 always beats the value of someone's words. After I was done with my big speech, it was time for the part that I dreaded more than anything, the meet and greet. There was always a long line at these events, full of people who wanted to shake my hand, ask me a question, or try to pitch me their business idea. I didn't mind talking to a few individuals, but I had a fairly low social limit. Unless I was in business with them, I found that I had little to truly say to them. Not that they'd ever notice, of course, because they were far more focused on what they could get from me rather than what they could share with me. But Miss Sarah had been insistent on donors of a certain amount being allowed to come up and talk to me after the speech. So I stood, dutifully shaking hands, giving trite business advice and listening to ideas about combining deodorant/hairspray cans. As one overly handsy older woman told me of some concept she had about merging women's sports with charity auctions, I noticed that past the barricades, in the common area, a young man was nervously fiddling with his tie. He was barely 15 or 16, in a suit that clearly wasn't his fit and seemed to be out of place. The tie gave it away, because no matter what he tried to do, he simply did not know how to tie it properly. The battered blue cloth looked as if it had been bunched together in a desperate attempt to mimic the Windsor knot. He was standing outside of the stanchions that prevented non-donors from entering the VIP area, yet was craning his head while adjusting his tie, in the hopes of overhearing the conversations. I excused myself from the line and walked over to the boy, slowly ducking under the velvet red barricade to get to him. "Young man," I said as I reached for his tie and began to unknot it, "do you know how to tie this thing?" "I could never figure it out, sir," he said, looking down with shame. "Nothing to be embarrassed about, my boy," I replied, working carefully to put the tie into a correct knot. "The fact that you know that you don't know something means that you can fix it. Your greatest strength can come from a keen awareness of your own limitations." The boy nodded but said nothing as I worked. "So, did you sneak in here?" He jerked his head up in surprise, eyes wide. I could read him well enough that he was thinking about lying, but then decided against it. "How did you know?" "At $300 a plate, you'd need to have parents here who would certainly make sure your tie was on properly and that your suit was clean," I replied. "But don't worry about me telling anyone. This is a charity, right?" The boy laughed at those words, and for a moment I felt joyful. Adults were cruel and cutthroat, but I had a soft spot for the youth. They had an innocence to them, a trusting nature that was genuine. If they didn't like you, they wouldn't pretend to in order to get a promotion. They'd shout at you angrily and storm off. They were, in many ways, far more honest than your average adult. If I had been less dedicated to my career, I would have had many children. But alas, these are the things you give up when you try to make your way to the top. "So," I asked, "why would a boy your age be sneaking into a cancer fundraiser? It can't be for the food. It's too fancy for anyone to actually enjoy." He sheepishly smiled. Actually, I was here to listen to you speak." "You want to become an entrepreneur?" I asked. "I already am," he said.